So this is a highly anticipated game from Platinum Games, and a lot of people were really looking forward to it, and then when it came out, they were kind of like, it's okay. I played the first game in this series and beat it many times. I got every achievement in the game. The second one, I played through and it's kind of like a one and done. I wasn't sure how the third one was gonna be, but it's Bayonetta 3 on the Nintendo Switch. You've never played a Bayonetta game before, they have some crazy stories. This time, the multiverse is under attack, like in every freaking thing that comes out these days, and Bayonetta and her buddies have to stop it. I'm gonna tell you right off the bat, this game started off the worst way possible, and it immediately gave me a bad impression. The first like 20-something minutes is just an over-the-top anime cutscene with no gameplay. It was honestly so boring that I almost fell asleep like 2 times. But after you get into the game, it's really just a fast combat-based action game. It has the classic witch time mechanic, which is back from the other Bayonetta games, where if you dodge at the last second, everything goes into like a slow motion bullet time sort of thing. It's nothing we haven't seen before, and even honestly, when Bayonetta 1 came out, I felt that it was kind of, it had already been done before, for lack of a better way of describing it. Other than that, you can see this game, it's just like your Devil May Cry sort of action game. You beat up enemies, you toss them up into the air, you have guns and different weapons, and you try to chain together combos and just kill things as stylishly as possible. There are also some strange sections of the game, like this storybook section. It didn't look anything like the game. Come to find out, it was actually like a preview for the next Bayonetta game that came out, that Cereza game. I don't know, it's on my wish list. I don't know anything about it. But I was very taken aback by it. It felt really out of place, and I didn't realize it was basically like an advertisement built into the game. I kind of thought that was a little tacky, honestly. There are also these strange elevator action kind of stealth sections where you play as Jeanne, who is Bayonetta's sister. I didn't personally find these to be particularly fun or that enjoyable. I felt like they took away from the game and just kind of killed the pacing. And in general, there's just a lot of time in this game where you're just not doing anything. There's no combat, no puzzles, no collectibles. It's just you running around and like taking in the scenery, and really there isn't that much to look at usually. And there's not even really any dialogue or story exposition during these parts. This game also just has way too many mechanics. There are multiple characters with like multiple weapon loadouts that all have different summons, they all have different combos, they have different controls. Some of the buttons, like the dodge button on one character, is a different button on another character. It's super irritating and it's kind of hard to get used to doing it. And also they have their own separate upgrade trees. Everything just feels like too thinned out. They added too much stuff to this game. In the other Bayonetta games, you were fighting like angels and demons, which is really cool. And this one you're facing like homunculi, just like fake humans. It's not nearly as cool. Angels and demons, it doesn't get any cooler than that, and this is just so lame, honestly. But for sheer spectacle and usually enemy design, I feel like Bayonetta is in a class by itself. The whole aesthetic really stands out and adds a really cool and unique feel to everything. Even as someone who plays a lot of like retro games and isn't very sensitive to graphics, Bayonetta 3 is really showing the Switch's age and weakness. It looks like an Xbox 360 era game. I don't remember it looking much better, honestly, than a Bayonetta 1. Getting to see and play as the different multiverse Bayonettas was fun, and I like playing as Viola. She's the new character in this game, but you know, she has a different set of controls. It was a mixed bag. She was nice, although a bit sassy at times, and could get a little overbearing.
Damn it, Cheshire! You know you're not supposed to pop out like that!
The music, of course, in every Bayonetta game is fantastic. It ranges from like heavy metal to smooth jazz to like lounge lizard music, all the way up to like rockin' classical epic stuff. It's everything you want. I don't remember any of it really standing out personally, but it did set the mood for the game, and I thought it worked really well. I've hit on some of the issues with this game, but let's really dive into those. The action in this game is really broken up by the constant combat cutscenes. I just don't get it. Like, why are you having action cutscenes in a game where the focus is like action combat? And to quote Mark MSX from the Electric Underground YouTube channel, who I love by the way, and you should go subscribe to him if you're a fan of arcade games or shoot 'em ups or anything like that, is that this game has low combat density. I don't even know of a better way to describe that. I think he nailed it. There's not enough gameplay to match the amount of cutscenes in the game. I feel like you're constantly in the middle of these epic battles, and then the game just takes control away from you and starts doing everything for you. You're just watching what you should be doing in the game. Also, that some of the environments are really boring and they just feel kind of like empty. Like you can kind of explore around this pseudo open world environment, but a lot of it's just, there's just nothing there. It really weighs on you and you get tired of it before too long. The best way I can describe this game is that it feels bloated. It's too long, there's too much filler, there's too many mechanics, too many cutscenes, too many weapons, too many collectibles. It just goes on and on and on. They added too much stuff without really adding anything of any value. A perfect example is the last chapter. These aren't any spoilers, so don't worry. There's this final boss that has like 5 super grindy phases that you have to work your way through. Then the final credits roll. Then after that, there's another boss fight. Then another set of credits. This time, you get to do some combat during the credits. Then after those, there's a post-credit scene. Then an extended dance number. Then the final credits. I'm not lying when I'm saying this, I'm not exaggerating this, but the last chapter, just that boss fight and all those credits and the post-credit scenes took 2 hours. I timed it. It was 2 flipping hours. It could have been done in 15 or 20 minutes. It would have been way more impactful. It would have hit harder. It would have been more interesting, but they just drug it out. This game, I don't remember how long it is, maybe 10 or 12 hours. It honestly probably should have been about a 6-hour game. It just really felt bloated. So how was Bayonetta 3? Honestly, I was a little disappointed in it. I was forewarned by all the reviews and what everybody else had said out there, so I kind of knew what I was getting into. And when it got picked for me to randomly play, you know, I was a little leery about doing it. But in the end, Bayonetta 3 was a 7 out of 10. If you've played all the other Bayonetta games, you should play Bayonetta 3. If you've never played any Bayonetta game, play Bayonetta 1 and 2. You don't really need to play this one unless you just really want to.